Hi, my name is Lauren Clifford, and I will be going over the assessment that I created for Cassie Scott, why I chose that assessment, and what the results are. This assessment was supposed to measure her ability to subtract double digits within 100 without regrouping. I chose this assessment because I noticed, based off of Cassie's current eligibility and her IEP, is she struggles with subtraction more than addition, and I just wanted to understand why and see if I can help her find ways to progress with subtraction. The first thing I gave her was a paper or an assessment that I created with both addition and subtraction problems on it within 100 without regrouping. She did really well on this. She did get frustrated with the symbols because there were both addition and subtraction problems on there. This threw her off a little bit. She didn't quite understand and she didn't get it. So once she was doing the equations, I stopped her and I said, wait a minute, there's some subtraction problems on there. And I said, you need to make sure you pay attention to the symbol. So that was my first thing that I looked at, is maybe she just mixes up the symbol or doesn't recognize it when she's solving those problems. That being said, my next assessment that I gave her was a piece of paper that just had subtraction problems on it within 100 without regrouping or carrying over. This way, she was just focused on that one symbol, subtraction. As for scoring this, I like these math assessments because they're pretty black and white. They either got it or they didn't. One thing that I looked at as well is what method she was using. The teacher uses a lot of different ways to teach them how to solve each equation. So I wanted to figure out how she was solving these. I noticed that during the assessment, she would put her pencil down and use her fingers a lot. So she definitely uses that. And since the numbers were without regrouping, she didn't have to worry about anything over 10 or carrying or any of that. So she was able to use her fingers, which is a good strategy. It is one that is taught. But when you get to those bigger numbers, it's almost impossible to use your fingers. The score that she got, once I reminded her to look at the symbol and she understood that it was subtraction, she got 6 out of 6 correct, so she did get 100%. I gave her a worksheet with 8 problems. Once she did 6, she asked for a break, and I said, yep, you are good to go. Thank you for working so hard. You did awesome. So the strengths is that she knows what she's doing. She has a strategy that works for her, and she can solve these problems on her own. She just needs to be prompted or reminded. Some of the weaknesses, as I discussed earlier, using your fingers, there's a lot of other effective strategies that she could use that are really beneficial. So using your fingers. I also kind of gave her a hint when she was working on the subtraction and addition problems about drawing a line down the middle and focusing on each problem separately. And that seemed to really help her as well, but she still continued to use her fingers. Some things that I would change in the assessment, I think instead of me having to prompt her, because I think a teacher wouldn't know to do that, I would include the prompt or a hint in the directions for either the child to read or the assessor to read, saying you can prompt them, let them know that there's one symbol, or just to pay attention to the symbol. I think I would have included that as well, just to kind of help out the student. We want them to be successful, and we want to help them as much as we can. The other thing I would change is giving her other options. So maybe putting out blocks or manipulatives that she could use. And then that way she at least has something else, an option. I also like number lines, maybe leave out blocks and a number line for her to work on so she's not just using her fingers. We just want her to stay focused, and using her fingers is probably not the best strategy for this assessment. Based on her other assessments, she still is below her same age peers. She's getting there. She's working hard. I would say she's improved a ton compared to her last done assessments. I know she's due for a re-eval pretty soon here, so I think that'll help give some more accurate data on what she can do. But she's still below average or far below average than her same age peers.